Hello and welcome to the next episode of Video Game Book Club. This one was another doozy. We need to give ourselves a break.
Oh my god. How many duds in a row?
Oh, a few.
I mean, only one.
Everything from Metroid Samus Returns onward has just been a doozy for me.
Yeah, unfortunate.
Anyways, I am here with my co-hosts, Wes and Hunter, and in this episode we will also have a special guest appearance, in quotations. He's not here, but our good friend of the show, WakaWakaWookie, he was going to be on the episode, but due to scheduling conflicts, he could not make it. So he is going to send in video, and we will be editing it in post so you can get his thoughts. He has 100%ed the game, which is far and beyond anything anyone expected of him, but he is probably the most, knowledgeable on the subject.
It should be clarified that he didn't just play all the stories. He has, gotten all of the ranks.
On hard mode.
I didn't even know... Yeah, no. It ain't right.
Yeah, I never even found the hard mode. I have no clue where it is. I don't even know if you have to unlock it or what.
Me neither, actually, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, me neither. I didn't know there was a hard mode.
What was your guys' first experience with this game? Because I feel like, Wes specifically, you've probably played it at least once, but never finished it, right?
I actually had it. Although I've played every other 3D Sonic, unless you're counting Shadow.
We're not.
So I have been anticipating this. I honestly had pretty high expectations because, everyone's always like, you have the adventure era, 1-2 heroes, and I hold those first two games in pretty high regard, so I was kind of expecting a third adventure here, maybe a lighter story, but, I played it on Dolphin Emulator. I guess we'll leave it there. I played this game, the GameCube version, which is 60 FPS. Weirdly, the PS2 version is 30, which is just egregious.
I mean,
that's really all I have to say.
The GameCube was the most powerful console of that generation, wasn't it? The PS2 kind of struggled in some areas with that.
Xbox had it beat, but Xbox, came around a little later, and nobody cared about it.
Right, yeah, basically. I'm honestly shocked you never at least, booted this game up once or twice, played a level, and put it down. That's kind of where I was leading into. I thought for sure you would have done that.
I'm surprised, too. I mean, I've played Seaside Hill 500 times between different games.
My introduction, I've pretty much only heard of this game, in name only. I've never really known much about this game, and when you put it on the wheel, I actually thought the game you were talking about was Sonic Forces, so I thought we were going to be playing a different game.
Oh, guys, I have an idea for a bonus game.
No! Oh, wait, yes. Okay, Hunter, for a minute, I thought you were about to say, I thought we were playing a good game, and I was going to have to correct you.
Forces is going on the bonus wheel. Anyways, my background on the game is I did what I thought for sure Wes did. I have tried playing it once, and I did not get past, I think I didn't get past Hang Castle. And then I tried to do a series on it, which was not getting views, and I was like, I'm not having a ton of fun with this, so I put it down again, but I did actually finish the Team Sonic story that time, just in my own time, and then I did it for this. So, that's my entire background. I never played Team Dark, Team Rose, or Team Chaotix before.
That is unfortunate.
Wait, you weren't having fun with this game?
What? That's crazy.
Yo, what up? It's me, Waka. I own this YouTube channel now. The subscriber count just tanked. I first played Sonic Heroes in middle school, and at that time I achieved 100% completion in it, including super hard mode. With that in mind, I'd say I'm qualified to give a somewhat accurate opinion on this game, especially now that it's fresh in my mind with this recent playthrough. I'm in the middle of playing 4 different games right now, one of which is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So I only did a full playthrough of Team Sonic's levels in the interest of time preservation.
All I cared about in middle school was Sonic Mania. We were in middle school when Mania came out, and this guy was out here playing Heroes.
It doesn't start on a bad note.
It starts on a very high note, in fact. I would say it starts on a high note.
Not for me. The start of this game was one of the lower points for me because I had a very hard time figuring out the control scheme. So that was one of the most frustrating parts of the game for me.
Did you play it on a GameCube controller?
No, I had it mapped to my PlayStation 5 controller because I also played it on Dolphin.
Oh, that'll do it. Yeah, the controls make a lot of sense when you're playing with a GameCube adapter.
Dude, I've never confused A and B so often in my life. I like the aesthetics of the menu. We've got a nice intro cutscene. I really appreciate that they're always referred to as Sonic Heroes.
Sonic Heroes.
I really appreciate that in the the main menu opening cutscene, like the one where Sonic Heroes plays, they spoil the entire game, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
As late as the second to last level in the game, not including bosses, I completely forgot which the jump and the attack button was, and had it fully reversed in my mind.
Yeah, you don't start to understand the controls in this game until the third playthrough, that's fine.
Seaside Hill, it's like a fine introduction level, but the level itself isn't the problem, really. It's just that this is your first time being exposed to Sonic Heroes, so my immediate impression is everybody just needs to stop talking. The number of times you're gonna hear "we," "shitrock,"
Look at all those Eggman's robots!
based on the fact that was a meme, I thought maybe it popped up once or twice. It's like every level, several times.
Mm-hmm. And I think this is also the point where you get introduced to... Because you start off that level running, and so you try to stop, and you realize how slippery the controls are.
You cannot play as Sonic in this game.
I will say this is one of 3 games that I've consistently played with audio.
Too much audio.
But the soundtrack in this game is so good! This is top 5 Sonic OSTs for me.
I mean, a couple unmemorable tracks, but I would put it pretty high. Top 5 maybe. I mean, aside from Frog Forest is maybe a little too mellow. Some of those last levels I have no recollection. I mean, you've got I think all this. The Ocean Palace is amazing. The mansion track's all super iconic.
I think Egg Fleet is amazing.
I'm obsessed. What's the final boss's name? I don't remember. That theme is excellent as well.
Metal Emperor. Or no. Egg Emperor.
Seaside Hill, it's got a good set pieces. It teaches you the mechanics. There's no tutorial, which is really strange. We'll get to the tutorial, which isn't here for some reason. But yeah, they just kind of throw you into it, and they don't explain much, and it's just very frustrating. Because the tutorial will usually boil down to, hey, you need to be using the triangle jump here. And your immediate thought is, what is a triangle jump? And they just won't tell you. I mean, they might mention, use the jump, I don't know. It's a frustrating start. It's not a good first impression.
The way that this game introduces the character switching mechanic is so stupid because it does it with the weird gates that automatically switch your character. Why do that if I'm going to be doing it manually for the entire rest of the game?
I don't think... Are they in any other... I mean, I don't remember ever seeing them after Ocean Palace.
I think they're in some special stages, but levels, I don't think so.
Oh, yeah. I mean, immediately you start noticing jank. I mean, there are just things that are clearly not working as intended, or things that it's very hard to tell if they are working as intended. I mean, you finish the first stage, and the music, the victory music doesn't even play during the animation. You just kind of have to sit in silence for a good 10. It's immediately the lack of polish. It's shocking, but this is in fact an unpolished Sonic game, you guys.
1 in a million. The aesthetic's kind of just Green Hill again. Just water Green Hill.
More like Water Hill.
I'm happy we made the same joke, but yours was funnier, so we'll take it.
As long as you rip on forces, that's all that counts.
The main thing I figured out in the Seaside and Ocean Palace was this is not really a Sonic game because you will not be playing as Sonic because it is the most unplayable character.
It's not a Sonic game, it's a Sonic Heroes game. Remember Eggman? Mwahaha. Think you can stop me, Sonic Heroes?
Sonic is not among the heroes. Sonic is his own thing.
Knuckles is the only character that controls while walking around.
And well is generous.
Well, comparatively.
I would not say Knuckles controls well. He's kind of slippery as well. I fell off a number of times with Knuckles as well.
He's only slippery when he punches. Because he punches and he dashes forward.
Yeah. That's what killed me. I'd punch and then I'd just go flying off an edge. Because this game has so many edges. Every level is just somewhere in the sky.
I mean, at least it's not like Sonic 06 where the moment you touch water, you instantly die.
I mean, okay, this game, so many functions of it feel useless because they're so impractical. I mean, I don't think I ever used it's not the spin dash in this game, but it is. Rocket Accelerate or something?
Yeah, Rocket
Completely
Accel.
worthless. Not required at any point in the entire game, unusable, awful.
It is kind of required for the true final boss.
This game has a true
I
final
don't
boss.
even remember ever doing it.
Really?
Oh, you're not even ready, pal.
I'll talk about it. I've got a lot of things to say about the true final boss.
Yeah, we'll get there. Of course. But first we got our first boss, which is Egghawk.
Bro, I
and
forgot about
if
this guy.
Seaside Hill didn't make an impression, I know, Egghawk, in addition to sounding like a Ligma joke, is just miserable. I mean, it is, I think, honestly, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here, but I would go as far as to say that I think that Sonic Heroes has probably the worst boss lineup of any game I've ever played. Not in terms of being overly difficult or unfair, but just dysfunctional.
They're damage sponges without attacks if you know how to fight them. You kind of just spam the attack button and have to do that for a minute straight.
For one, the only real way to kill this thing that you're going to immediately think of is just a spam homing attack. And then you're going to quickly realize that while you're doing that, there's no way anything will ever hurt you. And so what it comes down to is you just kind of sit there for like a minute and a half, pressing the A button. Mm-hmm. And it almost the Infinijump segment from Sticker Star.
A lot of things in this game kind of feel like Sticker Star. The one thing Sticker Star has over this game is that there's no really good ice level in this game.
I would argue there's no really good ice level in Sticker Star.
Really good comparatively, again. Everything is comparative.
I mean, listen, I did say this game is the worst boss lineup, but I mean, Sticker Star has much lower lows, so...
Yeah.
I would not compare getting shot to the Black Plague and say one is better than the other.
I mean, if I've experienced both, I would say one is better than the other.
Seaside Hill and Ocean Palace are a very strong start in my opinion. Seaside Hill gives you a lot of wide open space in order to get accustomed with the controls and movesets of each character while also providing a fun experience to both new and veteran players. There are a lot of branching paths in the first half of this level, which assists in letting players experiment with each character and switch between them at their own pace. Ocean Palace is much more linear, but it still features some of these branching paths. I think it's slightly more difficult than Seaside Hill, but not by any means in a frustrating way. The only gripe I really have with these levels is the rock chasing section at the end of Ocean Palace. The rubber banding on the rocks combined with the slippery controls can lead to some insane jank. Keep jumping to a minimum and you should hopefully be fine. Overall though, these are cool stages. Egghawk is the definition of a straightforward boss. You just chase it and then hit it until it dies. Not much else to say here.
What is bro yapping about?
I mean, I will say, I did forget to mention the rocks. They're pretty bad. I don't know, I didn't struggle with the rocks too much the first time, but on subsequent stories, I was really struggling with those. I mean, I think I even died a couple times. It just feels random whether you make it through or not, honestly.
This start of this game, I did not feel as positively as he did. I game over 10 minutes into the first level, and I was crushed. I was just so taken out of it by that.
This game has some long-ass levels. This shit, like Seaside Hill and Ocean Palace is like 10 to 15 minutes total.
And when you get to we're going to leave the other later stories for later, but the fact that your first Team Sonic playthrough, I mean, a few levels are probably going to run over 10 minutes, like most of them. Some of them over 15, probably.
I had one cap at, I think, 15 minutes was the longest it took me for a complete level.
I think Mystic Mansion took me 20.
I mean, I think Mystic Mansion took me 20 as well.
I think it took me 15 minutes, not including, my deaths, and I think I had a game over.
Okay, we get it. You're really good at Sonic Heroes. Move on.
Well, my depth perception, I am starting to learn, is so bad for 3D games.
That's fine. You won't need depth perception for the next game.
No.
If we get it on the wheel. If we get it on the wheel.
I swear to God, do that.
10 minutes per level is pretty long, I feel, for most games, but it's not too egregious. But when you consider that, I mean, when you get to Generations with some of these boost levels, I mean, you should really be thinking 2 or 3, right? Mm-hmm. Seaside Hill and Generations is like a 3-minute level, I think.
I mean, you're going straight to newer games. Even in Adventure, you didn't spend that long in speed levels.
Oh my god! In any classic game, I mean, Green Hill Act 1, Act 2 are like a minute if you're good. What happened here?
What happened was a travesty. I wish this game did not have a live system.
It would benefit a lot from that, honestly. Hunter, I know you wouldn't have seen this, but Wes, did you notice in like the final story when you're swapping between characters, it's like they have their each individual life count from when you play their story?
I couldn't believe that.
You could be playing Team Rose and you have like 30 lives and you're completely fine, and then you get to the Team Dark segment of the final boss and you have 1.
I had 50 lives on Team Rose and I'm like, oh, that's funny. They give you 50 for the final boss because they don't want you to worry about it. And then I got to Team Dark and it was 0. It's like, what the hell happened? So immediately after Eggclock, I mean, the revelation I had is like, I didn't have a special stage, and I know I ended the level with a lot of ranks, so I was like, okay, what's the gimmick? And I'm gonna be real, I just went to YouTube for this. Or not YouTube, but, game FAQs, whatever. And it said, if you get the key to the end of the stage, you get a special stage, which on paper is like, okay, that's pretty standard, not too egregious. But then comes the gimmick that if you get hit, you lose the key, like, permanently. Like, you don't even just drop it, you just lose it. Which is just obscene. Especially considering the fact that in a lot of these stages, I mean, 2 or 3 cages that are out in the open visible, maybe 1 hidden. I mean, it is just egregious. And if any Sonic game has bullshit hits, it's this one. Let it be known. The enemy spam in some of these.
Exactly. This and Adventure 2 have like the worst enemy placement in the Sonic series. But I honestly think the key thing is like a great gimmick if the controls were good. Like, can you imagine that gimmick in, like, Generations or Unleashed? You literally just beat the level without getting hit. That's such a simple request in those games. But in Heroes, it is such a Herculean task to not get hit.
I'm mixed on it. I think the challenge would be good if it was don't get hit the whole stage, like S-Rank is in Generations. But the fact that it's getting objects after that arbitrary point, it just seems like a weird challenge to me. And then, in addition, this just ruined my life. So I had a few emeralds about halfway through the game from getting these keys, and I kept getting them in Act 1 and thinking, okay, I got the emerald, we're good. Get to the end of the game and I have like 1 emerald, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? I got a special stage in almost every zone. I learned then that it only works in Act 2, which is so arbitrary. There's no difference.
Because Act 1 is just a bonus stage, I think it's called, and then the special stage is Act 2. Hunter, did you do any of the special stages?
Oh, I never even got close to not getting hit. Like, even when I didn't die, I was getting hit several times throughout the level.
Yeah, that's fair. Honestly, the Chaos Emeralds aren't really worth going for in Team Sonic. Definitely not Team Dark, or I don't even know if you can get them in Team Chaotix. But you're going to get all of them in Team Rose, honestly. Because Team Rose is the easiest one by a mile. It's also probably the best one, but we'll get to that later.
That's what I was hearing. That's what Wes was saying. But he said you should play the Sonic one. This is a Sonic game. Don't play it the fun way.
Yeah, Team Sonic is vanilla. Dark is hard. Rose is easy, and Chaotix is fucking quirky.
Quirky is an understatement. We talked about in Colors how those were like top 5 special stages or something. I didn't think this would be bottom 1.
Yeah, this
but
might
without
be.
Debate, it's the worst.
It does. I still haven't played Sonic 4. Does Sonic 4 have special stages?
They're just Sonic 1 special stages, but slightly worse. It's not even close.
Okay.
I mean, these are just. If you want to talk dysfunctional, genuinely, I thought the game was broken or I was doing something wrong. What's so strange is that the first time through, they feel impossible because it's like. It's moving too quickly. You can't even move. I mean, you're on the ceiling when you don't want to be. It just feels like your control stick is broken.
You just get stuck on the ceiling. You just get stuck there, and you can't do anything about it.
I know. And there are hazards everywhere. It's like the game is designed to be played at like a 5th speed. And then on top of that, if you Google anything about special stages, the first thing you'll read is switch to your power character and hold B. And as soon as you do that, they all end in like 4 seconds.
I did not do that.
What's this? Strange is that they feel disproportionately difficult if you don't do that, but they feel completely mindless if you do. So, were they designed with that in mind? Because if they were, they're too easy, but were they designed with that not in mind? Because if so, they feel impossible. I mean, what happened?
My strategy for the special stages, I didn't Google how to do them, so what I did is I went through them at normal speed, not boosting, just waiting to fill up my boost meter, and then I just fucking gunned it for the emerald right when it was full.
Is there a boost meter in this game?
In the special stages.
You don't even know, man. Be glad I didn't make you sit through one of these, because it's the worst part of the game, and it's not even close.
Well, there is one level with one set of characters that I would say is worse, but that's just personal experience.
A lot of people will tell you to do this as Team Rose, but they're so slow! Just use Team Sonic. It'll be so much easier when you get to the special stage part. And did I mention you need to do all 7 of these in order to get the true ending and the final boss? Actually, at this point, I'm sure one of these other idiots has probably already mentioned that, but you get the idea. If it's been mentioned multiple times, that's how you know that it's a terrible system. And the weirdest part is, this is a special stage that they keep remaking, and every time, it's way better than in this game.
Why wouldn't you use Team Rose? Their levels are so much easier and shorter.
Yeah, I'm not hearing that one, honestly.
I got all 7 Chaos Emeralds with Team Rose, because they're just the best way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I really am not seeing the argument, because they all... Don't they have the same movement speed, or am I wrong?
I think Amy is slightly slower than Sonic, but it's honestly not that big a deal in the special stages.
Yeah, honestly. It's not worth the 5-10 minutes you're gonna have to spend otherwise.
We're finally on the second level. Act 1 took me 7 minutes. God, this game is fun. Oh, and the checkpoints in this level are ass! The checkpoints in this level are ass! I died and lost 4 minutes of progress in Act 2. What the fuck?
Oh my god, it is so easy to pass up on the checkpoints. I swear, I almost missed like probably half of them.
I put in my notes where the only 2 checkpoints I found in Act 2 of Grand Metropolis were. The first one is at the 2-minute mark, the second one is at the 7-minute mark. Why?
One thing I noticed about this game's level design that's just like really egregious is that a lot of the times it'll place checkpoints on different paths. Like, but only on one of them.
Yeah.
I noticed this on the final level, where like the upper path, which is generally the superior or more difficult to access one, just doesn't have a checkpoint. And it's like you either go up there and don't get it, or you miss the upper path.
Oh god. What is the level design in this game? And the controls are already slippery enough. And now there's those weird platforms in Grand Metropolis that make you move forward faster. Who wanted to move forward faster in this game?
My number one complaint with Sonic Heroes, by far, this game has the worst automation in the series.
It doesn't work. It's
Oh
not
my
automated.
God.
It's just not. It tries to force you into it. It's not.
It's not clear when it's supposed to be automated. It doesn't work when it is. Sometimes it will exit periods of automation expecting something without notice. It's unbelievable.
The automation is definitely the thing that killed me more than anything else in this game.
I think Adventure 2's automation is probably it's much better than Heroes, don't get me wrong. But it's got like a lot of the same jank where like you'll just fall out of loops. Whoops. Sorry.
I mean, even still though, like it's crazy that in SA1 you might, let's say, like go through or let's go back to SA2 with like City Escape, right? Like the rail system, and you know, ahead of myself again, but the rails in this game, we have a whole level to talk about them there.
All of the like rail swapping and rail grinding in old Adventure era games are so bad. I'm just gonna say it right now. All rail grinding and swapping in Adventure games
in
is bad.
SA2 it was better. In
Barely.
SA2 it wasn't this bad.
It was barely
I mean,
better.
I didn't not know what button to press.
Fair. This is definitely the worst of it. Well, we haven't played Shadow yet.
I don't have any strong thoughts on Grand Metropolis, but I do feel much more strongly about Power Plant.
Yeah, Power Plant. I always forget it's not just Grand Metropolis 1 and 2. It's 2 separate names. Why would you do that?
It's weird that they do that. It's funny too, because in the stage select they just call it Grand Metropolis. The lava section, man.
Oh. Like, is the elevator section in Grand Metropolis or is it Power Plant also?
I don't remember. It's all the same. I mean, we can just talk interchangeably. But the rising lava section in Power Plant is just...
Trying to keep your key in that segment is so painful.
Oh my lord. And the thing is, it requires a lot of, like, on the character switching, and then the worst part is at the top, it, like, you're climbing up and there's enemies, right? And you're ignoring them because it's a speed segment. And then it's like, I hope you killed all those enemies because you needed to, or else you just die. and also lost all of your time if you didn't already do so.
Oh yeah, and
Which
also, you have to use light speed dash, and I hope you don't use it a frame too early or you're rocket excelling into the lava.
Again, like, it's so dysfunctional. They don't even call it light speed dash too, right? There's like some weird name for it. They can't use the same name for anything but homing attack.
I don't know.
Hunter, you struggled a lot with this lava section too, right? Hunter?
We fucking killed him.
So now is a good time to talk about I hate the camera.
Are you telling me camera being on triggers isn't intuitive?
Oh, I did not figure that out until I was told in like the second to last level in the game, or second to last chapter.
I learned that shit in Rail Canyon, right?
I learned that shit frame
on top of
one.
That does not fix the fact that you cannot see the ground on many of your jumps. And if you fall, you fall. This game, you don't fall to the ground and lose some progress. You die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no looking up or down. You just gotta hope the game knows what you want. And it doesn't. It does not know what you want.
No, never. Never. This is like a fundamental problem with 3D platformers. That's like less of an issue these days with like the little bubble system and stuff, right? But there's always been a disproportionate amount of punishment for falling than taking damage from an enemy. Even though you're gonna fall way more often, and it's easier to do, but it always kills you instead of making you take damage. And Sonic Heroes is horrible in this regard, because flipper controls, the terrible automation, the straight up dysfunctional camera, and the enemy spam, you will be flying off the edge at least 5 times a level.
It's definitely way better in like Odyssey and Frontiers and stuff, where falling just means you fall down to the open zone. But it's still weird that it undoes so much of your progress in those games still.
So once you finish Power Plant, you get this stupid nothing cutscene, which it's really strange too, because they use this whole like Amy finds Sonic thing here to start the fight. But like, we do this so many times. It's just, it feels weird that they do it this early if it's also what they're gonna end on, but whatever, who cares?
Right.
It's the story of Sonic Hero. Yeah.
Story.
But this boss fight.
Wait, hang on, before we go on to the boss fight, I doubt we're gonna go through every like level and cutscene for every character, so we should also talk about the like Team Dark and Team Chaotix version of this cutscene.
Oh, true. I mean, it's the same, right? Isn't it?
It's mostly the same, except we get the iconic Vector line, "Who's this broad?"
Who's this broad?
And that's just...
Oh my god! Vector's voice in this game.
Oh, he's so good. He's so good. All of Team Chaotix is so iconic in this game.
Team Chaos, or... But, never mind.
You got this. No, you got it. Finish the joke. Finish the joke. You got this.
No.
Team Iconics, say it. Team Iconics, run it.
Team Iconics. There you go. Anyways, the Cheetos boss is just added to the list of egregious Sonic Heroes boss fights. I mean, you pick the flying character and you do Thunder Shoot, and it's over like instantly. And
is that the strategy?
You just get pummeled.
Is that the strategy?
Oh, and you beat it in like 10 seconds every single boss fight if you do it.
Oh wow, I usually, every single rival fight, I get into it, spam homing attack, die, for like 30 seconds by the way, and then die. And then I just get back in, try it again, and it just suddenly works.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
these were the only things that I A-ranked in the game, aside from the final boss.
Me too.
I think I A-ranked a few levels.
What the hell?
Mostly
I
Team
have
Rose.
no clue.
D's and E's.
I A-ranked all of, or almost all of Team Rose's levels.
Oh, I got a lot of those too, but I mean, that's a different frickin' story. Team Sonic was E's and D's the whole god.
Oh, Team Dark was even funnier.
I like Grand Metropolis. It's a straightforward level without any annoying gimmicks. Often when I play this one, I get to the end and I think, wait, it's over already? Because I tend to confuse it with Power Plant. And on that note, I hate Power Plant. The first half of the stage is fine, I guess, but the second half has these weird floating fireball things, and they're really annoying to navigate around. It can be done, but it's annoying to have to dedicate an extra brain cell to that. The other reason I hate this level is the ending, where you have to climb out of the giant tank of rising energy lava stuff. One small mistake here will cost you everything, and sometimes it's not even your fault. When I ran through this level for this video, I struggled to grab one of these pulleys as Tails. If I had been just a second slower in grabbing it, I would have had to restart from the last checkpoint. And this is a good time to mention that this game punishes you hard for dying. It takes away all of your levels, and level 0 characters suck balls. Especially the flying one. So if you die, then it suddenly becomes harder for you to deal with whatever killed you. In the example I gave, maybe not since it's movement based, but a tough enemy could easily ruin your day. All this to say, I'm not a huge fan of this stage. I'll be real, team fights are baby's first aggressive altercation. Just use the speed character's tornado move and you'll win for free.
One thing that I'm glad Waka mentioned is that there is like a leveling system for fights, but it's so strange because it's hardly explained, and the effects of each level are never explained as far as I'm aware. But this is a huge mechanic for some of those fights.
Oh yeah, especially in the final fight.
Tails especially.
In the final fight, you want to be max level.
God, yeah.
In the final fight, when I got to level 2 as Tails, which it happened like half the time, like when I got to level 2 as Tails, it just broke the final boss. Like, it just turned it into another spam fight once I got there.
It's just...
But if you were level 1
it's
as Tails,
weird that it's so hard.
you were screwed.
Right! Like, Tails' ability to hurt enemies is dependent on leveling, and it goes from being easily the worst, like literally just stunning some of them, to just slaughtering everything on screen. Like, the fact that an unexplained mechanic, which is heavily RNG dependent, is like mandatory, really, to do something, especially those robot spam fights.
While we're here, let's take a quick intermission to talk about the voice acting in this game, because I know Sonic voice acting is a pretty big deal in the community.
Jesus Christ, it is horrible. It is everywhere. It is horrible.
I think the only person that kind of does a good job outside of gameplay is Ryan Drummond. He's not he's far from my favorite Sonic voice actor. Roger takes that by a mile. But, like, again, the intro cutscene.
Crazy. I do agree.
Yeah, I know, the internet's not going to be very happy with that one. But Ryan, in the intro cutscene, when he's, like, staring directly at the camera and he's like, I forget what he says, something about cracking some eggs or something, like, that's great Sonic writing. Love it.
Yeah, it's a very mixed bag. I think Sonic's fine here, as fine as he was in the past couple games. I think Amy is actually, I like her voice in this game quite a bit. Eggman is Eggman. But you got a couple weird ones for sure.
I think Rouge is also great.
Well,
Rouge and Omega, I think, are great.
Fine. Well, oh, dude, Omega's just the perfect character. But Tails, like, actually sounds like a fetus.
Tails made me want to die.
Tails has contributed to my 13th reason.
That's like the third worst part of the Sonic story.
What are the first two?
That would be camera and automation.
Damn, automation's taking number 1?
No, camera
easily for
takes
me as
number
well,
1.
yeah.
Automation
okay.
number 2.
Okay.
Oh, no.
I would say the entirety of Mystic Mansion takes number 1, but we'll get back to that.
I think Knuckles is, like, weirdly flat in this game. Like, he has no emotion.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know it's kind of like a meme. Like, if you've ever... if you've ever played Adventure, the Oh No, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of a joke that he has like, no range, but it's pretty bad in this one.
I love it when heroes and adventure fans talk about how Knuckles' new voice actor is bad, and it's like, at least he's trying. Sure, he's going kind of in the surfer dude direction, but that can work for Knuckles. It's better than adventure games.
I love adventure, like crappy voice acting. Like this game even has a little bit of the talking over each other that I just absolutely adore.
Especially in the intro level cutscenes.
Dude, yes. We only got 24 hours. Which also, 24 hours, when was this ever established? Like,
no, remember, you got 3 days till I conquer the world. I think you can stop me, Sonic Heroes, which means the first 2 levels took 48 hours.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't even remotely check out. Do we want to just like touch on the story at all right now? Because it's just an easy time.
Yeah, so the story is, let's see.
So that's the story?
Yeah, basically. So, let's character by character. Eggman sends a note to Tails, I guess, and he hands it to Sonic, and it's an animated note, somehow. and it says, hey, I'm going to take over the world in 3 days, come stop me. And so Team Sonic's like, alright, we gotta stop him. Team Dark, Rouge is breaking into a facility to try and steal quote-unquote Eggman's secret treasure. Don't know what that implies, nor what treasure Eggman could possibly have possession of, but she's going for it.
That's what I know.
And she finds Shadow in like a weird clone box. Who knows if he's a clone, yada yada. And there's also a robot in there named Omega, who Eggman sealed in that room for no particular reason. And he now needs to kill Eggman. So now they're all working together because they all want to find Eggman. Team Rose, Cream's best friend Chow, Cheese doesn't get taken, Chocola gets taken. And then also Froggy is taken, good old Big the Cat's Froggy. My light is flickering, that's probably not good. And so now they have to go and try and find Chocola and Froggy, which despite them having the only rescue mission in the entire game, they have the easiest time rescuing them, so that's pretty interesting. And then Team Chaotix just wants a bag.
Yeah, girl. I mean, they have like a little bit more going on because like at first they have like a client who is immediately obviously Eggman, like there's no question about it.
Who Vector immediately sniffed out as Eggman, I'd like to add.
Yeah, it's strange because like the game kind of like half-asses an attempt to pretend the characters don't, but they give very clear indications like, you guys think this, like they even say on screen like, do you guys think it might be him? Like.
And then in the final cutscene, they have the balls for Charmy and Espio to be shocked that it's Eggman, and Vector's like, I knew all along. I absolutely love that sometimes this game tries to be serious, despite being the Mickey Mouse clubhouse of Sonic games.
The story is like classic Sonic tier of writing. I mean, it's non-existent. You're gonna get more story in like the storybook games. Like on the Wii, it's ridiculous.
Way more. It's not even close.
No, not even close. It's weird because it actually has like some weird continuity and like some relevance to the lore. Like you get the introduction of Shadow or reintroduction, which is huge in the lore.
The characters even comment on Shadow being back, but it's never taken that seriously. Like if you think of Shadow as back, they're like, oh my god, you're alive? But no, Sonic is like, well, I'll be, you're alive, and then they fight, and then in the next level, Knuckles convinces Tails that it's a ghost of Shadow, and it's like, what the fuck?
And then at the end of the game, there's still like Sonic doesn't like ask him like, hey dude, what the fuck are you? And he's just, there's no,
he just runs
no
away.
mention. And his death is like in a huge drawn out like shocking moment, and then he's just back in the next one and we don't even acknowledge it. Like, what are we doing here?
I absolutely love the shot at the end of everyone runs away and it's just Shadow and Omega standing over the corpse of, I think at that point it's Metal Sonic.
Oh yeah, what the hell happened to Metal Sonic? He just came up in one cutscene and I never saw him.
We'll get to it. Actually, I guess that's technically kind of the story. I guess that's technically kind of... Well, yeah, you know what, we'll talk about that when we get to the story of Final Story. That'll work.
Unless WakaWakaWookie brings it up, in which case we'll just talk after him about it.
Oh, I think he does, actually. I think he does.
Well, screw it. Let's just roll the tape.
I'll be real. I'm not a huge fan of this game's story. The longer you think about it, the less sense it makes. How are all these stories happening in the same places at the same time? Are there just 4 Metal Sonics? What's with Shadow's amnesia? He seems totally forgetful of some things, but also remembers his rivalry with Sonic and Rouge's love of treasure. Why is Knuckles here? Why was Chicola even taken? To get Chaos's life data? Shouldn't Froggy, who was possessed by and inside of Chaos, be sufficient for that as opposed to a being that was just kinda the same species maybe as Chaos, potentially, but also not quite? How is Charmy not dead after stinging Eggman 800 times? Why did Eggman lock Omega in this room? Why did he leave Shadow, the most powerful being on Earth, in this random room? Was the Egg Fleet originally Eggman's plan or Metal Sonic's? How did Eggman print an MP4?
Yeah.
I remember what I was going to bring up, by the way. I know you've never played Shadow the Hedgehog, Wes, but do you know the resolution to like the whole Shadow clone plotline?
Bits and pieces. I can piece it together, I think.
So, this is kind of just it's a stupid thing that you will never see in the normal game when we play it. But Yeah, the final boss is like 3 to 4 minutes. If you just stall for like 10, you get a random Eggman voice line that's like, "You're not a clone, you're the real Shadow." It's like, what are you doing here?
Can you hear me? This might be the last chance I have to speak to you, so what I said about having created you, it was all a lie. Everyone thought you died during that horrible incident. But I rescued you with one of my robots. You lost your memory, that's all. You really are the ultimate life form my grandfather created.
There was like a little mention of that in this game, I think, at some point. Where, like, Rouge says something like, the clone has to come from somewhere, maybe he's the real, or something like that. But it's just like, that doesn't make any sense. We saw him die.
Again, I want to reiterate, it's a 4-minute boss fight. If you stall for 10, Eggman's like, "I recovered your body after you fell from space, and you're the real Shadow the Hedgehog. You are the ultimate life form." It's like, what the fuck? Why are we doing this now?
That is one of the worst story resolutions I have ever heard of.
Yeah, it's bad. There's a reason.
You haven't played FP2.
There's a reason I absolutely hate Sonic Adventure 2's story, specifically because it is ruined by every future Sonic game.
Yeah, I'm gonna choose to ignore all of that. I played that first and it's a goat.
Alright,
okay,
level 3.
Christ. Out of the frying pan into the fryer.
Yeah, I need someone else to talk about this level. If anyone's watched me play this on YouTube, I think this level got the closest to actually killing me.
I knew I was in, or I mean, there's never been a good pinball segment in a Sonic game. There's just it's like tradition. It's like a poison swamp in a Souls game, you know? Like, we have to do this. Nobody wants us to.
You know that Smiling Friends clip that's like, your uncle has been in a lot of car crashes? Yeah, he loves his cars. He loves his cars. It's like, why are there so many pinball sections in new Sonic games? You know Zuka, he loves his pinball.
The pinball sections are only bad, though. The bingo is atrocious.
We'll get to the bingo, but dude, I have strong feelings with the pinball. Like,
I
okay,
don't have very strong feelings. It's only bad.
Listen, they give you the option to move, but they force the direction. It's like you know the amount of movement you get when you're grabbed into like a flying thing when you move up and down. You have like that kind of movement, where it's like you can move left and right, but don't really. Like you can suggest where you want to go, but it doesn't listen. Like it's just horrible and. So often, where it wants you to go is like not clear. Maybe the exit of the pinball thing is at the top. Maybe it's in the middle. Maybe it's at the bottom.
The worst part of that pinball sections. I made an entire YouTube short about this where I almost actually died. The exit is always different, and in common pinball logic, down is bad. Down, you lose a ball. The last one in the entire level, you go down. What kind of batshit crazy level design is that?
Yeah, I probably spent a minute trying to find where I was supposed to go at the top and just kept on getting sent into like one of like the lotto spinners, but it's like I did not know I was supposed to go to the bottom and I was not going to risk it until I was told that's where I was supposed to go.
My favorite thing is like right before you get in one of the pinball machines, I think like Tails or Knuckles says like, if you get 3 Eggmans, you'll lose all your rings, so don't steer like I ever chose to go in there? Like, you're just in.
One of my fluorescent lights died.
Cool. Okay. Man's Robots Playboy. Funny.
Very funny bit. Okay, one more positive about this game. Eggman's robots have never looked good in modern Sonic games. The Egg Robos in Heroes look so good. I love them.
I don't have like a super strong, but like, I guess they're probably my favorite. I just know that the 06 ones are horrible.
Yeah, and then in Forces they just gave up. They're just spheres.
They're not enemies. Act 2 is hardly an improvement.
Why can you just fall and die in bingo? That's not what bingo is.
It's a great idea on paper. I actually think it's phenomenal. I mean...
Such a good idea, they've brought it back.
They have. I think it works here, for the most part. Like, on the first couple bingo tracks, I actually think it's pretty fun. Because in this case, you actually do have a decent amount of control. Well, sometimes. And usually you'll have to pick like one of two paths, and you'll have to look on the bingo sheet, like, which one more likely to get more lives. And I think that's a great idea. I love that. But good lord, when they start introducing those pits.
It's fun until the Sega wizard manifests exactly where you're going to be heading so they can put an instant death pit there.
Yeah, I had an extremely hard time with the bingo sections because you're supposed to control it, but it felt like I was always being pushed in like a direction.
It's like a magnet. Like, you can't move. You just get sucked into the death hole.
A magnet's actually a great way to describe it, because you're just always constantly moving towards like the pole of it, which is always down the slide, and you have so little control over either way, because it's always trying to pull you back to that main pole.
It feels like Sonic Heroes is always trying to fight you, man. Like, I'm not playing the game, I'm struggling for the controller. Like, I never feel like it's in my hand. There's always some guy behind my GameCube with a second controller, with a grin on his face, driving me off a cliff or into a pinball table. Like, oh my god. If you told me my controller wasn't plugged in, I would freaking believe you.
Did you guys have any characters, like, actually die on you? Like, they disappear from the character switch menu?
Yes! Several times.
You have to team blast to get them back, or you have to progress to a checkpoint.
Oh, that's what it is?
Mm-hmm. It's team blast or checkpoint, which is so stupid.
That's so strange. One thing that's just so strange about this is that in the bingo sections, sometimes when you die, you'll like go to the other characters at the top because they like stuck up there, but then sometimes you won't. There's no consistency. Like, everything feels broken.
You can spend 5 years getting to the end of a pinball segment, and you swap characters because you're like, oh, I need a power character, and Knuckles will still have his ass in the stupid pinball machine.
And it's just, and the thing is too, like, when you get saved by it, conveniently, you might think like, oh, this was an intended feature. You get to play it 3 times, and if you lose 3, you lose. But no, like, because it's not consistent. It's just like a bug. The boss is not good either.
What even is the boss of this level?
Oh,
this is the waves of enemies. God, don't get too excited, boys. Those were the easy ones.
Those were the easy ones.
I want to point out, if you play this entire game as the way God intended, you will hear that line 8 times.
Oh my god. No, I was going to point it out because it's in my note 8 times. I thought it was hilarious. And the fact that, again, he says it to a bunch of female characters, too. What did he mean by this? On a lot of these enemy spam quote-unquote bosses, they'll just, like, drop them out of the sky, and they can totally disown you.
Both of the enemy spam levels are way worse as Team Dark, because they go on for so long and there's no checkpoints. It's bad. God, on these stages. I mean, it's just, like, never ending. It's like the length of a normal level. Let's hear from Wookie about this.
The pinball levels are an interesting case. I really like the aesthetics on these levels. I think this is the best casinos have ever looked in Sonic the Hedgehog. But I don't like how forced the pinball is here, especially in Casino Park. I can't comment on whether the physics are actually good or not, but I just hate pinball in general. With that said, I kinda like Bingo Highway. I think the whole bingo mechanic is interesting and fun to interact with. It's less of a giant pinball game and more of a downhill race where you have to try to get as many goodies as possible. And that's the kind of thing that brings me back to Ice Cap or City Escape, which makes me happy. Robot Carnival is cool. I found they're the one place where flying characters can really, and I mean really, excel at fighting groups of enemies. There's also a lot of strategy involved in when you should use your Team Blast, as you never know what the next wave is going to look like. Unless, of course, you've done this before and have basic memorization skills.
It's true, but it's not a positive.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, I agree with everything you said there, except for the opinions. Like, I would not call them cool.
I would call them very uncool, in fact.
I mean, listen, it gives Tails combat some purpose, I guess. It does have the Team Blast. That's the one point where I think it's kind of a good mechanic, because usually it's kind of a worthless green win. But there, it's kind of nice.
The rival fights already gave Tails combat purpose, though. Apparently, we didn't need these. If anything, Knuckles combat needed more.
I agree. Yeah, Knuckles combat, which is weird because he's the cool power character, but whatever.
He only starts to be a cool combat character in the true final boss, and even then that's just like a single interaction.
Moving on, I guess. Rail Canyon.
Woo! This level is dog shit! Woo!
Yeah. Fundamentally, the rails do not work.
I I literally clipped through all of the rails. Every single one of them, I clipped through them at least once.
I have flipped through a few rails in this game. They did not
and you
work.
go backwards. You go backwards.
Oh yeah. Did you guys see the section where there's like a weird rail ramp and it wants you to get a speed boost and launch off of it up into the air? It's optional, but it doesn't work.
I tried to block this one out. I mean, just horrible. And again, most Sonic games don't actually have like a rail-centric level. Like rails are usually like a little cinematic segment where like it's a little hands-off, it's just like jumping through rings. But for some reason, the one game where we get the most rail representation is the one that just butchers it beyond belief. And it's because just jumping between rails, one is like doesn't work at the time, and two, you can just do it off the edge. Like that's not a thing in other games. I mean, I guess it kind of is if you try to in the adventure games, but
the worst part about the rail grinding in this level is that when you go on like the long segments of it, it's so boring. There's nothing happening. You're literally just spamming B to try and speed up. And I played this level before bed. My ass fell asleep. It's not interesting, and what either it's boring or you're raging. There's no good parts of this level.
Yep. Wholeheartedly agree. Christ almighty, like, there's nothing positive to say about my Team Sonic playthrough of this level. I mean, this is where I learned how to control the camera. Can we talk about how, by the way, you can move the camera with the C-stick, but if you press up, you go into first person. What would you use for that? Why would you ever want to do that?
You know, for first person, Mario did it, so they have to do it.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
dude.
first person Sonic is unplayable. First person Sonic Heroes is completely unplayable.
This level reminds me of my least favorite piece of Sonic discourse ever. Every single time people talk about rail grinding in Sonic games, it always comes back to rail grinding hasn't been good since, and then just insert whatever their favorite Sonic game is. It's always inconsistent, and that is the worst part of all Sonic discourse, is that it's never, no one gameplay style is objectively better than the other, but so everyone will always just say it hasn't been good since whatever my favorite Sonic game is. It's ridiculous. Why can we not just use our brains for 5 seconds and see that there's different play styles and each one have their own merits? What the fuck are you talking about?
Rail grinding is the best it's ever been with the momentum update stuff from Frontiers, where you can boost off, jump onto them. I mean, I couldn't ask for them to be any different than they are. And to think that anybody thinks this is superior, you are sick, sick human being. And human beings is a generous way to describe you if you enjoy this.
It's sadistic. It's straight up sadistic.
And I'm not saying the level as a whole, but I'm just speaking on the rail mechanics.
The entire level is the rail mechanics. There's like 2 segments on foot, and they also suck. Especially the stupid tightrope section and bullet station, where you gotta like walk along the path with the Tails character. There's no reason to even have that there. What the fuck? This is not even the worst level in the game.
I think bullet station's honestly decent as far as Heroes levels go. It's not good really, but I mean it's got good set pieces. You got Train, which is fun. Not too frustrating unless you lose Knuckles, in which case it's miserable. But, you know, I like the little cannon sections are cool. They use it like
Knuckles?
3 times, and it goes on so long.
Lost Knuckles at the start, had to go all the way back to get Knuckles, because he never respawned.
How have we gotten this far without bringing up the stupid minecart bobsled thing? It's so punishing, especially in later levels. But right now, it's just annoying and boring. Why is it there? And then you get to Hang Castle, and it's still annoying and boring. And then you get to the last one in Hang Castle, and it just fucking kills you if you're not prepared.
Actually, I never died on any of the other ones, but I had a hard time. It caused me to game over the rail cart section in this one, because I could not get a hang of the jumping. I always jump, and then I would fall on, like, the laser obstacles.
And, wait, the damage mechanic makes 0 sense, because you get hit once, and you just lose the ability to accelerate. You get hit a second time, and now you just can't dodge anything. So, you're just dead. You're just dead if you die, you hit a second time.
Horrible game design. Horrible game design. And then also what I'll add is visibly, much of the time, you can walk. Egg Albatross, just as bad as the last few.
Yep, it's a Sonic Heroes boss fight, alright. And it goes on for way too long. It has like 4 phases.
Oh yeah, this is the longest one, I think. And my favorite detail is that clearly the obvious way to damage it is the homing attack, but 100% of the time if you homing attack enough, you just kind of get stuck attacking in the middle, which doesn't take damage.
And then you get shot in the face.
Yep.
Blast him!
It's just not, the thing about Sonic Heroes is that you experience things that are I might have played that wrong. Or oh, that might have broken for my playthrough. And you watch someone else play and it's no, we all had the exact same experience.
Waka, please say everything that we just said.
I was today years old when I learned you can just hold the goddamn grind button to go fast. I always thought you had to mash it. At least that skill served me well in Project 06. Anyways, Rail Canyon Bullet Station. Where do I begin? I personally really enjoy Rail Canyon. I think it's a fun challenge that rewards players who have taken the time to master this game somehow better than I remembered rail grinding system. However, the build-up to this stage consists of a single 10-second rail grind at the end of Metropolis. For new players, this level is basically the equivalent of a toddler stepping into a puddle for the first time, before its parents throw it in the ocean and say, "Okay kiddo, learn to swim." So for that reason I nominate Rail Canyon as the most mid-level in this game. Fun for veterans and nightmarish for noobs. Bullet Station, on the other hand, has less rails. I know what you're thinking, well that doesn't sound so bad. The problem is, it has less rails but the same amount of empty space under your feet. You better time every jump right in this place and make sure you don't get knocked backwards by a single enemy, otherwise you're basically back to square one. I don't have as much fun with this one as I do Rail Canyon, so I'm going to make the bold claim that this is the worst level in the game. Yep, I said it. Make like Spring Yard Zone and cope. Egg Albatross. Wanna know the secret strategy for a guaranteed A rank? Spam the A button. Problem solved. Truth be told, most of this game's bosses are pretty easy.
Okay. First level in the game is actually an A.
Until the section with the giant laser very late in the game, I cannot remember which level it was in.
Oh, I'll tell you.
Until that point, I did not know that you could just hold B to accelerate as Sonic. So I was always just mashing B as Tails, which I think did nothing.
Oh my god,
it kept on showing B flashing, so I thought it's saying, mash this button, you will go faster.
The UI is horrible. And one thing I want to talk about a little bit more when we get to Hen Castle, just little minute differences between how different characters interact with objects is so arbitrary and so unexplained. It's just... Okay, but we'll get there, next up, we've got Frog Forest, which... I'll just say, I think this is probably...
Oh my least favorite level of the game.
We are all over.
This is the point where it became most egregious that I could never see the ground.
Literally the only note I wrote for Frog Forest was boring. It's just such a lame level on all 4 playthroughs. You just walk through it and it's over. There's nothing going on.
One thing that's really funny that I wrote here is, quote, for some reason the Emerald was a time trial instead of a race. Oh, what I didn't know. I'm talking about Act 1. But, I mean, listen, I enjoy this level. I think it's simple, the gimmick is kind of cool. It's rail grindy, but there's no jumping between rails. It's got a nice flow to it. The only thing I honestly don't like is the music. I think it's just too calm. Do you guys have strong thoughts on Frog Forest? No, you do. What are you talking?
I died because I could never see the ground.
It's very green, isn't it?
I game overed on it, and then I made it through without dying. And I was doing so good. It felt like I was just making constant progress. I was doing everything right. And then I get to the end, and it's like, haven't died once, I'm gonna get a good rank. Maybe I'll get a B rank for once. I got a D rank, same as always. Well, not same as always, I got mostly E ranks.
If you ever want to feel good about yourself, just remember that Frog Forest's theme, I believe, takes up a jukebox spot in Frontiers.
Dude, there's no way you mentioned... I was just gonna.
I just replayed Frontiers because I got it on PC, so I remember that.
Aim! I didn't play the whole game. I booted up the DLC to just experience a good Sonic game as a palate cleanser after this.
Same!
And I noticed that. It was so weird. But yeah, I like this level. I like the gimmicks that you touch the frogs to cause the rain and grow plants. And honestly, I think part of the reason I enjoy that gimmick so much is that they twist it really well in the next level. This is kind of what I expected this game to be, which is a more it's like a Super Mario 3D World, the Sonic Adventure, right? More linear, more gimmick-oriented, lighter in story. It has some
interesting ideas,
and I think this level honestly kind of has just nailed it in most respects.
I think the frog mechanic is only fun the frog mechanic's only fun in Team Chaotix when you can turn invisible. Because that way, you can actually hide from them. Otherwise, the frogs just feel automated.
That's just like a plus. I just thought it got even better. I don't know. I just thought solid level. And Lost Jungle, not as strong, I think. At least on Team Sonic. I do like the kill says they're all dead.
They're all dead.
Hunter, I think you got something to say about the end of Lost Jungle.
Oh my god, I hate the vine swinging. That is at the point I game overed on my first playthrough of the level. Because I got in the habit of jumping too fast and died. And another thing with the shitty way the camera works, you actually can never see when you get to the top of most of the vine jumps. Or not the vine jumps, but the vine swings, because it's off screen.
You see, I never actually had that much of an issue with the vines because it was kind of just rhythm gamey. But during my Team Dark playthrough, I had a key at the weird alligator segment, and the game bugged. And instead of swinging forward instantly, I swung backwards, and so I jumped backwards into the alligator and lost the key.
The boss fight is another one of the Ultimate Sonic Team classics of Switch to the Fly character and spam. But not only does this one have the previously mentioned egregious cutscene, it was my introduction to Omega, and I think it's so funny. When you play as these characters, you don't really think too much about their voice clips, but when you hear them in a boss fight, and you just hear Omega going, annihilate, annihilation, annihilation, every 5 seconds, it is hilarious.
That was the main thing I noticed from Team Dark when I was playing as them, because when you swap to Shadow, he says, I'll take it from here. And you swap to Rouge, he says, I'll take it from here. You swap to Omega, annihilate.
I want to wait to talk about Omega, but he's so funny. Yeah, I have nothing to say about this boss. It's just more of the same.
Yeah.
I got it.
Well, actually, very interesting distinction from the first rival fight. It plays the theme of whatever rival you're fighting, doesn't it? At least it does for Team Chaotix.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
It should have done that for all of them.
I think it does for all of them.
I don't know why it doesn't for the
I
first
think
rival
it
fight.
does, but some of them are hard to hear. I thought it did.
It does not. I distinctly remember it doesn't for the first one. It only does in the Frog Forest one.
Weird.
I like Frog Forest. It has a nice aesthetic and the platforming is difficult but fair. The frog gimmick makes for a fun way to progress, if not making me question how the frogs got this large and why they control magic rain. Did I mention this is a game about a 3-foot blue anthropomorphic hedgehog that is faster than the speed of sound? Anyways, I'm not a fan of Lost Jungle. It seems like whenever I play this, I have at least one instance where I think to myself, wait, I can't stand there? It feels like the whole level is out to troll you. But at the very least, the Florida recreation at the end sets the adrenaline coursing through my veins. Another team fight, whoa, I can't wait to press A and B over and over again until I win.
Whoa, my head's spinning!
I'm falling! Well, Tails has a unique way of falling. He'll be flying, and then he will just start falling. He will fall, straight out of the sky.
He just kills all momentum. It's horrible. Speaking of horrible... Hank Castle, everyone.
Oh, good level design incoming.
Well, okay.
Hank Castle itself is fine.
It doesn't get too bad until actually.
Super Mario Galaxy S level.
Not to spoil my opinion of this game, but I did like it more than Mario Galaxy.
Hunter is the biggest Galaxy hater, and I say my 2 rules for my comment section are be nice to everyone except me. I'm giving you full permission to bully Hunter over his opinion on Galaxy.
I also endorse this and will be part of it. You know what? Hank Castle's alright. It's got great music.
Except for the music changes when the gravity changes, which is stupid.
Yeah, and it gets worse, but I don't hate it. I mean, listen, all I really remember about Hank Castle is what followed it. Okay, there are some very funny parts of this, though. I like how Sonic Heroes kind of tries to be a game. Okay, tangent. I always get this video essay in my recommended that's called Sonic Heroes as a puzzle game, and here's how you play it. What fucking puzzle? The one where it says you have to break a wall, and they say, "I wish there was some wall we could break." End quote. What puzzle?
You're just playing the puzzle wrong.
In my Sonic playthrough, I never ran into a puzzle. At least I don't think I did.
Yeah.
Maybe figuring out what triangle jump is a puzzle.
The only thing that resembled a puzzle was I think it was in the Team Dark version of Hank Castle where you have to get a bunch of keys. Or no, it's Team Chaotix one. You have to get a bunch of keys. That's kind of puzzle-ish.
Yeah, ish. The puzzle in Sonic Heroes is to find a reason to play it.
We found a reason.
I mean,
wasn't worth it, but we found it.
It's for the sake of our 3 viewers.
Oh, they're gonna love this.
Do we have any other strong thoughts on Hank Castle? Because honestly, I'm just ready to dive into Act 2.
Oh boy, am I ready. Alright, we'll start it off strong. Music, good. That's the only positive.
Music,
Okay,
excellent.
honestly-
Very, very catchy.
Honestly, did not hate these levels that much as much as you did. I think they're probably some of the better levels in the game.
You only had to play it once.
Well, that is true. I only got the Team Sonic. I think it's one of the better Team Sonic levels. But I do have shitty 3D depth perception, so I game overed before you had to wall jump back and forth before the rail grinding, and like 3 times in a row, I stopped 1 jump short because it felt like I was over the rails.
I was gonna say real quick before we start ripping into Mystic Mansion, the top of my notes for this level said, "Why does it say I only have 2 emeralds? What the fuck?"
Does he know?
This is like the side plot. Anyways, horrible level. I came over 10 minutes in, and it's just horrible. It's just horrible. I mean, I'm just gonna jump straight into the worst part. 3 pillars at the end, precision platforming, and my Sonic Heroes, where the homing attack doesn't work.
So I played this level right before I went to bed, and I had 1 note for Mystic Mansion, and it was Act 2 has this rail/cart section that kind of sucks. And then like an hour later, I was in the process of going to bed. I turned on my phone, opened my Google Doc, and put another bullet point that says, actually all of Act 2 sucks. Never mind that first thought.
No, yeah, I honestly think this is the worst level in the game. Just terrible. I mean, longest level in the game. And then it's just absurdly punishing.
I honestly don't even want to talk about Mystic Mansion.
I know, I mean, I'm kind of exhausted. It doesn't even have cool set pieces. I mean, I guess kind of the mine part, sort of, but Robot Storm, it's just not a boss, man.
Nope.
This just isn't a boss.
The Team Dark version of this made me actually want to end it. It made me want to end it. The part where you have to... I don't remember if it was Team Dark or Team Chaotix. The cannon segment. Oh my god.
Okay, no, I have a lot to say about that. So, when I watched Hunter play, I realized they explained the thing with Knuckles and the cannons and the Seaside Hill, where they're like, if you enter a cannon as Knuckles, you can... Okay, I didn't know until this level, because I just missed that one hint, because I played Sonic, and it's not a brain hints. I should have read those, because, oh my god, I probably played this level like 5 times. Over and over, got to the cannon as Knuckles because I was using him to fight, and then the shot would never work. It would never ever work, and I would just die. And I was just, is it broken?
Here's a hot take. I like Hand Castle and Mystic Mansion. Hand Castle isn't very difficult in my opinion. Most dangerous thing in the stage is the void beneath you, and considering you can infinitely hover with your flying character, I'd say people who struggle here probably lack either patience or skill. Seriously, you can walk on the air here. The game can't possibly be more lenient than that. Hand Castle, on the other hand, not only sees the return of this void in several areas, but makes it actually threatening, and also throws in a metric boatload of beefy enemies to stand in your way. Still, I think the challenges are reasonable. They never cross the line that separates fairness and frustration, and with proper use of your abilities they can easily be trivialized. I will still take away points for the bobsled sections and jump scares, however. I would like to give special attention to the ending, which features a platforming challenge followed by a short fight for each character. Every mistake is punishable by death, and every challenge needs to be completed back to back. If you screw up, you have to do the entire level again if you want May rank, but if you manage to do it perfectly, words cannot describe how good it feels walking up to that goal ring. Design-wise, it's terrible. But for some reason I can't help but look at this homing attack section and think, I like this. Probably because I'm bloody insane. Robot Storm is just Carnival but more, and you can get a bit more creative with how you use the Team Blast. Hey, pro tip! After you use your Team Blast, the meter will begin to drain over the next few seconds until it's empty, and during this window, if you attempt to use Sonic's Tornado move, then he'll basically do his part of the Team Blast again, instantly homing to and destroying nearby enemies.
Can we just agree to pretend Waka doesn't exist for that one?
like his reasoning was awful. I just could not disagree more. At least he said that the level design was bad. Okay, at least he said that it was bad.
All right, let's move on to Egg Fleet. I'm gonna be $150 with you guys. Egg Fleet Act 1, best level in the game.
Yeah, after I beat it, I think I completely forgot it.
Well, shit.
I mean, I was very impressed with the verticality. Ultimately, it just kind of meant more rail grinding, so I mean, I'm done. Also, I felt checkpoints were very infrequent here. Those were my only two thoughts. Oh wait, and also, final thought. I thought it's funny how this ends on a very unflattering freeze frame for some reason.
I think it's very cool how the level starts with like a weird introduction for every team. This is where we get the iconic line from Shadow, "I'm the ultimate life form, Shadow the Hedgehog," and then he charges forward. The music is banging. It's very linear, and beyond that, it's just good platforming, I think.
That's pretty strong points. My issue with it really just stemmed from being like too combat oriented, honestly, compared to some of my favorite levels like Frog Forest.
This is probably the only level where I was consistently using the mechanics the way the developers wanted me to, like swapping characters when it seemed correct, instead of just brute forcing everything as Sonic.
Yeah, I did not click until like story. Final Fortress,
kind of bad.
Despise.
I always hear people talking up this level and how the music is great. I didn't like the song very much. I didn't like the level very much.
Didn't care for it. It's just, it's all the worst parts of Sonic Heroes. A lot of combat, a lot of rail grinding, a lot of broken automation. One thing specific in the automation that this game does is that it will like throw you off the end rail at the end of an automation period. And you'll start falling towards the new one, but you'll be like 1 pixel to the right and just die. Mm-hmm.
Yep, that happened to me like 4 times on this level. All
just,
in one playthrough. It's not like I kept forgetting. It was all in one playthrough.
Yep. Oh, yeah, it's just how it be. And like in multiple spots. And then one thing I really enjoy is that they'll say stuff like, "If we press this button, it'll self-destruct," and then immediately after it'll go, "Wonder why it self-destructed." It's just the dialogue. It's horrible. It almost feels like poorly translated at times, but I guess that's kind of true of the adventures as well.
Is it this game or is it the adventure games where the manual says Eggman's a feminist?
I'm not sure, actually. I think it was this one.
Because I know in the original Japanese translation it calls Eggman like a womanizer, and for some reason the translation team was like, feminist!
The opposite. Now, Hunter, I know you had a very unfortunate experience with this laser, which I didn't even know you could get hit by the last laser.
I didn't either.
Yeah, that is the point where I figured you could accelerate and how you did it.
I had a good time with the laser segment, honestly. It's obviously still the broken rail grinding,
but... it was miserable.
It felt like it swapped pretty easily, in my opinion.
I'd lose all my rings, it would send me flying down.
Nah, I had a good time.
Then I had to replay a level. Pretty sure it caused me game over.
Hunter has a good reason. To hate the laser section, because not only did he get hit by the final laser, which is the final set piece of the level, immediately after you just get thrown into the bull ring, but he game over at that.
Ooh.
So, I mean...
That's unfortunate.
I really did. I knew this was late at night, I was typing this, I was losing my mind. I wrote, quote, in all caps, "Sometimes you press a button, it breaks. Sometimes if you don't press it, it breaks. What is this game?" I mean, that's just...
It's just broken.
The whole way through.
It's just broken.
Yep, the game feels broken, honestly. It really just feels, between the slippery controls, special stages, camera, it doesn't feel finished.
Speaking of not finished, Egg Emperor. What?
Hate this.
Jesus Christ, that's a bad boss.
You run down the path. If he gets too far away, he charges at you. If you're too close, he throws projectiles at you. If he is going to the main arena and you jump off the path into the arena, you will bump into him and fall into the void. If he's too far away, he will charge into you, bump into you, and you fall into the void. If he's too close, he will throw a projectile at you, hit you, and you fall into the void. What is this boss? Who created this? Who thought it was a good idea?
I didn't mind it so much the first time because I ran into the boss a few times. It's unavoidable. But I beat it relatively quickly, and I thought, you know, I hated it, but not so bad compared to the rest. And then by the time I was doing it for the 4th time on like Team Dark, oh my god, dude.
I would actually say, so I get what you mean by it being like repetitive in that sense, but I would honestly say the Team Dark version of this boss is probably the easiest, because you literally just get Team Blast and you can probably one-cycle him with Chaos Control. I don't know if you can, but also fun fact, if you use Chaos Control on the boss while he has his shield up, you just can't hit him during the entire Chaos Control segment.
Good game. Good game. I mean, ultimately, when it comes to actually fighting him, you just spam. But, God, it's not fun.
And if you use the Sonic Wind ability, like the Sonic Tornado, you can get rid of his shield. I learned that.
What?
Oh,
Did it on accident like twice. It's very inconsistent though. It's not like you just use Sonic Tornado and it happens. It sometimes happens. Honestly, the best part about this boss is its reuse in the newest comics during the fight with Starline.
Everyone, if you're a Sonic fan, in the comments, argue right now. Write a very passionate opinion about someone's writing. I'd love to hear. And then respond to everybody else disagreeing with them.
Exactly, yeah. Do exactly what he just said. All of it, now.
All of us seem to hate that one, so I'm kind of curious how what he feels about all this.
Hopefully the same as us, because I don't think I can stand another hot take.
Did you know that Egg Fleet has its own Gary's Mod map on the workshop? Imagine a company letting people express their love for a franchise. What a crazy concept that is. Anyways, it's a pretty level with fun platforming and some nice cinematic moments with the flying propeller thingies and the exploding ships. It's a good preparation for Final Fortress, which offers more difficult but still overall satisfying platforming challenges. Gotta say though, I hate just how many enemies there are in this level, yet how spread out all the tough ones seem to be. You might use your Team Blast in order to take down a tough enemy that you don't feel like waiting for, only to progress a little bit and to discover a group of tough enemies that would have also been a great use of your Team Blast if you hadn't just used it. This tends to happen a lot in this level, so for that, I hereby bestow upon it the rank of mid. Egg Emperor is the only boss that feels like there's some strategy to it. As you chase it, you have several opportunities to get levels depending on how you choose to get across gaps. You then have to think about what the levels of your characters are at any given time in order to determine the best way to attack the boss. I usually get him down by the second arena phase, which is just quick enough to get me an A rank.
I mean, again, I would agree that there's probably more depth to this strategy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just that, like, there's just still a lot of bullshit.
Yeah. Not a good Sonic final boss, but luckily it's not the true final boss, so we can just pretend it doesn't exist.
Well, it very much exists because I had to play it before it got new. So the ending cutscene for this is so underwhelming.
Oh, we forgot the iconic Tails line. It's a fake.
Yeah. So this ends with like they beat the robot, and then Amy shows up randomly and chases him, and it just ends. Like,
Yeah.
So
end of the game.
Love.
Start playing. We can.
I forgot I wrote this. The next note is, this is Premi de Remy's goat?
Yeah, for real. For real.
This is the goat? Are you
This is
real?
also-
No way. In
Also-
that world.
Radical Soda's goat and LS Mark's goat.
Dude.
How many people fucking like this game? It's a disease.
It's all nostalgia.
100%.
Can't be real. There's
It's-
no way.
Every single one of
Like,
those
there's
people
no-
played this game growing up.
Okay, I should throw out. So this game came out in like 2003, and because it was multi and everybody owned a PS2, it up until Frontiers, it was the game. So it's the one like most people have played. So if I honestly don't think it's like even possible for someone to play like Generations, Frontiers, and then Heroes and think Heroes is the best of those three games. Like
Yeah.
how?
Heroes
I
is
don't
by
even know how you.
far the worst of a lot of games in the Sonic list.
I like how you almost said of the 3D Sonic games, but then you know that's not even remotely true.
No, it's definitely top 5 worst, but it's not the worst. It's it's got some time.
Yeah, that's what's crazy. I don't even think it's like close to falling out of the bottom 5, which is insane considering how games are. After you beat it, they drop Try Another Story, which after it's like, who's gonna listen to that advice?
Which is not as insulting as the one after the true final boss.
I know. We'll get there. But before we do, I have to do my Duolingo.
Okay.
Leave that in the video, please.
All right.
There's no real way to segue into this game. It has the least to do with Sonic Heroes of any game ever. It's North and South for the NES, which is this moderately obscure strategy game that was like from the Amiga or something. I don't even know.
Do you think Shadow the Hedgehog would be a Union soldier or a Confederate soldier?
I think Shadow would be part of the Union, but he would be a little sympathetic to the Confederates. I think he'd be like, I understand your anger, but I can't endorse it.
Yeah, I think Sonic is absolutely racist.
Anyways, North and South. It's an NES game. It didn't originally come on the NES, but who gives a shit? It is a Civil War, U.S. Civil War themed game about moving around troops, fighting troops. It's mostly turn-based, but every time you get in some kind of fight, it turns into a real-time top-down RTS. Or
it's got a lot going on. It's got a hell of a lot going on. And it's fun. I'm going to be $1.50 with you. It's fun.
Decently. It's simple to understand if you read the manual. There's no one game tutorial, but it's the end.
I looked up a YouTube tutorial. I looked up these like guys with 600 viewers playing the game for an episode of a podcast, and I was like, thank you, perfect.
It's not crazy in depth, but it's got its charm, and there's not really much to say about the play itself. Really, all it comes down to is you move your troops. Each of them have like limited resources. Infantry, cannons.
You can combine your troops to combine their resources.
But yeah, I honestly think that is a bad idea, though, most of the time.
Yeah, it is a bad idea, yeah. Because if you lose all your soldiers, you just lose instantly.
Well, the only time where I think it isn't, though, is when you get like guys down to like 1/3 of their initial amount, and you're going to be in a fight, so you're like, well, screw it, I'm going to lose if I don't combine. So it has some utility.
Have, like, 2 musketeers left, there is no point.
Very common situation. Very common situation.
You can win a fight against a full army with 3 musketeers.
Yeah, for real. You just become the Doomslayer at that point. If you've just got horsemen or cannon guys, you're kind of screwed. One guy with a musket against the world's all you really need. Just shooting back up.
Oh my god, yes. I went through with 1 musket guy, took out probably like 6 musket guys and a cannon. And a few of the horses, and then lost the battle. It's like, strategy game my ass.
Bro freaking turned into John Halo.
I think the biggest problem with this game is the AI just sucks ass. So if you ever, like, particularly in the real-time segments, right? So it's really easy to just, like, space them out.
Oh, unless you're doing the platforming segments, in which case the AI becomes John fucking Wick.
I only beat that once on easy. Like, I never even got close on harder difficulties. Like, my god. And when you... No. You can be on the other side of that. You can be on the giving end against the AI claiming one of your forts. And at that point, it never spawns your guys in. And if it spawns you on the ground, you can't climb ladders. So they're just gonna pass you right by. Jesus Christ. Like, they're always like a freaking minute ahead of the clock. The AI is incredible at those sections and no other part of the game.
I actually have to say I didn't struggle too much because I have ways to like jank this out. When you're playing on the attacking side, if you walk backwards as soon as they spawn, you can despawn the enemy like every time. It's so funny. And then when you're on the attacking side, 1, the AI will never do that. And 2, if you do it like right as they're like close to a pit, you just own them every time. So I honestly did not struggle with those.
Damn, I didn't tease the AI. I was going mano a mano, and I got my ass kicked every time.
The only way I found to basically claim the railroad ports, which are a way of getting extra troops, it'll put a bag in the safe for every railroad spot you have claimed, which there are 5 of.
Yes.
But claiming those forts, the only way I found that I could reliably claim them was cutting them off, and it would just automatically claim the fort for me.
This game has like a lot of like little extra mechanics, like natural disasters that you can enable. It's storms, European troop reinforcement, and
culturally insensitive representations of a certain culture.
I'm going to take this time to real quick. I'm going to take this time to read 3 quotes from the manual. Quote: these are my three favorites. 1865 is not available as a starting year because the situation was too unfavorable for the South, which is really funny.
If you select easy mode, it should just set it to 1865.
The left box enables Indians and Mexicans. Awesome. And my favorite quote, the Mexicans will periodically bomb Texas.
Okay. In my 2 hours of playing, Mexicans never showed up.
Never saw them.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yep.
Native Americans, one time just randomly, I thought I paused the game or something. I didn't know what was going on. A hatchet just started flying across the screen, and at the point I figured out what was going on, because like it flew around in some ginormous like boomerang pattern that took forever.
Yep.
By the time it got to my troops, I thought, I'm going to enter a fight with the Native Americans. No, it just wiped out my entire thing of troops. They just were,
It's like
they
a
were dead.
I never had any interactions with them. I was just playing a straight up strategy game, even though I had them enabled both times I played.
Mexicans never came. Native Americans came once in 2 hours. So the odds are astronomically low.
I'm sorry, but the fact that you're talking about a video game and the quote Mexicans never came is even possible is art. It's art.
I didn't see the Native Americans in my NES playthrough of North and South, but I didn't just play the NES version of North and South.
Oh shit! You
There
broke out the
is
Atari?
Oh no! There is a $25 remake on the Switch.
Right, I forgot about
And
that.
It is complete shovelware. Like you would not believe. Now, I only paid $5 for this, but
I am ready. We've got the screen share pulled up. We are investigating. This looks amazing. Doesn't even look like the same game.
I'm gonna just let the video play.
That is
I'm gonna let
not
it
the
play
way
in
the
real
US
time and I'll just narrate over. I know. But I'm gonna just let it play and I'll narrate over it.
Why does Michigan still look wonky?
So, as you can see, this game has the game has a great art style. Looks really mobile gamey because I think it was.
Right.
I have to tell you, you might think the video is buffering. The frame rate is shit. It runs at like 10 FPS, like unplayably bad.
Ugh.
And just look at these character models, by the way. You're gonna pop up.
Oh my god.
But
On the way he
one thing
fades
this
away.
game, the only compliment I have for this remake is that the train is like a little more visible on where it is, but everything else is drastically more convoluted. So here's our first fight. They did tweak the controls a little bit, so each button for changing formations is dedicated. But the issue is that it feels like garbage to control, and the graphics make it so much harder to see what's actually happening. I just got my shit rocked here. I'm not gonna keep it real. So I ran it back, did another fight, and this time I can't. I'm just gonna let the footage speak for itself.
Man, you get broke again?
No. This is what it's supposed to look like.
Anything. There's no camera controls in this game. So I had to retreat and I lost. Okay, and then here we have a very respectful portrayal of a Native American. Just take a look at this. No. You haven't seen anything yet. Let's just say they revamped the other combat sections. You'll see.
Oh my god, please.
Take a look at this. Oh, and watch its loading times, by the way.
Oh my fucking god. What? What?
This is literally, I'm dead serious. This is the worst controlling shooter I have ever played in my entire life. Like, it feels, you can't, it doesn't work.
You know what's funny? This absolutely looks, this looks even worse through the screen share, but I somehow am just gonna pretend that this is just what it looks like on Switch.
No, it looks like ass on
Gross.
Switch too. Okay, I learned you can sprint and melee in this too, which is just bizarre. Considering there's
Halo
aren't even
5.
mechanics in the 2D version. But it gets worse. The train segments are somehow worse.
Oh, what?
It's just awful.
Alright, we all to an extent loved the NES game. Imagine a remake that's like this, but actually good.
I know, but this is not good. A reminder: $25 you pay for this.
Oh, you got outplayed. No!
Yeah, I hated that.
I don't even know. They made an okay game horrible. Like, what was going on there?
No, I don't know how they did it. They took an NES game and destroyed it.
Do we know who made that port?
It has the same publisher as many of the Garfield card games.
The cannons on the enemy side in the real-time events, they are extremely accurate on the enemy side.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Impossibly to gauge when you're
I had
playing
that
as
happen in
them.
Remake.
But yeah, every time I would just start as my musket guy, and it would just obliterate my other cannon and horses, and then I would kill everything as my musket guys. Almost every time, that's how it went.
And when they're controlling the cannon, do not go on the bridge. Do not. It will not end well
yeah.
for you.
Yeah. Yep, and then if you're trying to go across some of the other things as your horses or musketmen, the little other secondary bridges, yeah, if you're not in like a straight line formation, half of them are falling in the water. No way around this.
Hey, that just happened. That's war, man. You gotta just be okay with that in war.
Oh yeah, and if you are pushing forward as your horses in a section where there's a cliff or water, and you go off of the horses, the cavalry, whatever you want to call them, they will just run straight off that cliff and die, or run into the water and die. I even saw this happen to the enemies.
Hey, war is hell. What can they say?
Yeah, but
War.
I would,
War
yeah,
never
just pretty much
changes.
mainly played as my musket, sometime as cavalry, never as the cannon. And with the musketmen, I legitimately went into a few fights with like 1 or 2 musketmen, and either got extremely close to winning or won the fight. My God.
I played as the cannon a few times. Like, I took out the bridge a bunch of times.
Oh my God. One thing that happened when I was playing against, it doubled up the AI doubled itself up a few times, so there were 2 cannons. And oh my God, when there were 2 cannons against you, you had to like position your troops in the middle of them. Like, I got it, so like I killed like all the cavalry and all the musketmen. There was no way I could get to those cannons. Like, if there's like especially because when I had that happen to me, like there was a canyon in the middle. Jesus Christ! Like, I couldn't move up because my troops would get obliterated. I couldn't move down, they would get obliterated. I couldn't move forward, I would go into the canyon. So yeah, I just died to 2 cannons there.
If only you could aim down!
It's very hard to rate a game like this, but I mean, I'm kind of feeling like a 6.5-ish.
I would give this game a 7 out of 10.
For me, it depends, because, like, it's an NES game. Do I rate it as an NES game or just a video game? As a video game, it's like a 6. As an NES strategy game, it's probably like an 8.
I feel like it's a 7 all around. I feel like this game would be much funner in like local co-op.
Yeah, same. Sit down with the boys,
Adam,
play some North and South.
As a fucking Nintendo Switch game, this is like a 2.
I kind of figured.
Like, 25 bones you pay for this. 25.
I am just waiting for this as a random game to get added on to like NSO. Like,
don't worry, North and South Nintendo Switch Edition will be on the bonus wheel this episode.
No.
Let's go, dude.
And we want to play the online multiplayer, so we all have to get our own copies.
It is on sale right now, so that's not horrible.
Online.
It doesn't.
There's no online.
Why is this so bad?
I know. Guys, there's a campaign mode which is just playing each year once.
I mean, to be fair, that is how the Civil War went. Are you guys Union mains or Confederate mains? I'm a Confederate main.
I played a decent amount of Confederacy, but I thought the ending was funny. It's like, you didn't pay attention in history class. Hail, Winn-Dixie. Confederacy, for most of the years, does start in an advantage.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Confederacy needs to be nerfed for the next patch.
Oh, yeah.
Except for 1864, the North starts with a hell of an advantage.
That is historically accurate.
65 should just automatically win, like, 2 turns in.
Oh, yeah, like 6 Union troops spread around all of the railroads, 1 Confederate thing in, like, freaking Georgia or something like.
Do you think we can get a North and South sponsorship?
This is the most favorably anyone has ever talked about their game, a 2 out of 10.
Anyways, back to Sonic here. Oh, wait, no, sorry. I forgot. Yeah. We need to get Waka's opinion on North and South.
Wait, he has an opinion?
I've been told I'm allowed to talk about North and South, so I'll do my best to share my knowledge of this, I guess. The Civil War started when
WakaWakaWookie then proceeded to go on a 1 hour, 12 minute, and 46 second rant about the Civil War and its effects on the Western world. Due to not having time to include the entire rant, and because we don't want to take his word out of context, we have decided to cut the entire rant, remove him from the show, and replace him with a clone who has no idea what the Civil War is.
Who the hell is Abe Lincoln?
Exactly. Anyways, back to Sonic Heroes.
Next up, we've got Team Dark, which we've already discussed the cutscenes. The only real thing I have to say about Team Dark is that, I mean, they're longer levels, they're harder levels, and Omega is super funny.
Way better dialogue just across the board. They're so much less annoying. Oh, yeah. They're all of the characters are pretty funny in the grand scheme of things. There's Shadow being disinterested in everything or being super cynical about it. Rouge is great. I don't really like how he's almost too optimistic in this game. He's very upbeat.
My favorite Omega quotes, I love how he just says, sometimes when you have to, like, attack, he just says, kill. Like,
Omega
he's
goes crazy in this game.
Worthless consumer model, minus gravity detected.
There's not a bad Omega line.
Yep, I agree. Favorite character in this game, easily. A great addition to the cast, and I think this is his first game, right? I think he might be in, like, Sonic Battle, or...
This was his introduction. He was introduced as a Eggman robot that doesn't want to work for Eggman.
Yeah, great character.
Doesn't want who for Eggman?
Nope.
Okay, not what anyone said.
I think we should get Waka's opinion on that.
Just a couple random notes. Not things that are specific to Team Dark, but like little bits and pieces I only noticed on my Team Dark playthrough. When you press start to pause the game, pressing start will unpause the game, which is what I was doing the whole time. Because, that's usually how this works.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, I think you do too. When you press A, it also selects the option, but for some fucking reason, in Sonic Heroes, if you press start, well, on restart or quit, it will not unpause, it will restart, and so, I'm not even kidding you, after 12 minutes of Mystic Mansion, I hit reset, and I quit for the night. I couldn't do it.
Dude,
it broke me.
Are you shitting me? I did too.
I was crushed.
I didn't quick reset though. I quit to the menu in Mystic Mansion. I was fucking livid.
No, I did quit level. I see you in the Okay, I do have one more thing. The death plane in a lot of these levels is way too low. Like, specifically in, like, Final Fortress and Egg Fleet and Rail Canyon. Like, you can fall and, like, you'll be dead. You won't die for, like, 10 seconds of falling, and it's the worst. One thing I didn't mention before, too, is the progression of this game is very strange. Like, you see Egg Fleet at the end of beating the, boss in, I think, the Rail Canyon, and they're like, okay, now we gotta go get to that thing, and then go to the forest in, like, a mansion? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But, whatever, who cares? It's Sonic. It never made sense.
Team Rose consists of Amy, Cream, and Big, and honestly, the only really notable thing is that their Team Blast does damage to a bunch of enemies. I think it also collects all items and then makes them invincible, which is a lot going on there.
Yeah, it's absurd.
And they're also the easiest story in the game, and you use them to get all 7 Chaos Emeralds, if you're sane.
Yup, they're shorter, easier levels with like minimal enemies in them.
They're the length that the levels
and one
should have
thing-
been, with the level design that all the levels should have had.
We talked about the story of the intros earlier, but this intro is just particularly egregious. One, because there's just the whole thing with the intro is that there's a bunch of wind, but it doesn't make any sense.
Wind strong enough to have a 6-year-old girl sitting on top of an umbrella and then go fly.
And it's random too, like it happens at the most sporadic times. And then Cream, we talked about voice acting, but somehow I missed it to mention Cream's voice is like the worst.
Mr. Big, I'm Cream the Rabbit. I'm here to help you, Mr. Big.
Literally a flawless impression.
Thank you. I've been working on it.
The only other thing to say about Team Rose is that they have a tutorial, which is strange because this is probably most people's third story.
Yeah, they have a tutorial stage, an entire first level dedicated to a tutorial. So they do intend for you to play this first.
The funniest thing is that I booted up Team Rose and I saw the name Ocean Gate with unique music and I was like, oh shit, every team has different levels.
Rip.
Nope, I was wrong. Yep. But yeah, I mean, Omochog just tells you what to do. It's like much more clearly explained. It's just really strange. Some really weird voice clips in this game. Obviously, we've been talking about it, but like the weirdest one to me is when you grab an extra life, Amy says, "Oh my god!"
She is just befuddled.
Creamus' characterization here is so weird.
Yeah, he's
Because
supposed to be
Cream is
like
like ultra naggy only to Amy.
right. She's supposed to be like a super brave, confident 6-year-old girl. That's literally it. Brave, confident 6-year-old girl. Why is she? It's like they tried to give her a new character, but failed miserably.
She's miserable. Like, you'll walk into a bunch of robots and she'll be like, be careful, Amy, don't walk into a robot. Or like, Amy, now's not the time to be messing around. And it's like, where is this coming from? Why is it? It's only one-sided. It's really strange. I don't get it.
When Waka was talking about the story earlier, and he was kind of spitting with like, why did Neo Metal take Chocola? Surely Neo Metal would get literally everything he needs from Froggy. It's not like you needed Chocola to even be in the story. They could have just been, oh, Big needs help getting Froggy back. Go help.
One of my favorite parts, if not my favorite part of this entire game, dead serious. So, as Team Rose at the very beginning of Casino Park, you know they have those little intro cutscenes. Cream just randomly says like, Sonic must be really, and then Amy's voice actress must have that context because she delivers the line completely incorrectly. She goes, really?
Really?
What?
Oh, I can't believe he did that just so he could get away. Mr. Sonic must be really... Really? What?
I love it. It reminds me of Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 in that regard, and I absolutely adore that part.
I want line delivery like that in Sonic Movie 3.
Dude, yes. Oh my god, my other favorite line from Cream is she just goes, there are so many bad robots, and Big just goes, wow, you're right.
You're right. Isn't Big in this game voiced by Duke Nukem?
Oh my god, wait, Johnson John, is that real? Oh my god. What? That's real?
That's real. Team Chaotix, the quirky ones.
That's mighty. So, Team Chaotix's gimmick is that you don't get the end.
Mm-hmm. What do you do, out of curiosity?
Fuck all. I mean, you just do something. Sometimes it's hermit crabs, sometimes it's chow, sometimes it's kill every robot. I have a lot to say about that one.
Yep, this is home to the worst level in the game, Kill Every Robot in Grand Metropolis. There's a 56 of them, or there's 100, I don't remember which number, but it's a lot. And if you miss one, you gotta go through the whole level again, and there's a thing you can press at the end of the level, lets you go all the way back to the start. And I searched everywhere. I missed literally one. I think it must have fallen through the map or something, because I restarted the level and I found them all first try.
I have confirmation. So I had to play this level 5 times, and it took me 30 minutes. And what happened was, I actually found it. An enemy in one of the hallways spawns like 3/4 clipped into a wall, and regularly he's completely invisible because he's out of bounds, and sometimes he pops in bounds. And he's required to kill. So, straight up, I went through level 5 times, and only one time was one of the enemies spawned.
Are there any other special things we hated from Team Chaotix?
I made a comment that this is the playthrough I was gonna do because I was only gonna play through the game once, and I was highly advised not to do that.
Yeah, this is the worst one to only play.
For good reason. This is not Sonic Heroes, bro. This is Team Chaotix. Most of the objectives are not bad. I actually think some of them are really good. The Don't Alert the Frogs is really interesting.
I love that one. It's basically just an SBO solo mission.
I like the infiltration stuff with SBO where you have to like avoid robots. It's not that fun, but it's kind of interesting.
When you don't have two really annoying characters to swap between and you're just playing the speed character, it almost feels like a video game.
Mystic Mansion is horrible as usual. You have to blow out 60 red torches, and it took me 17 minutes without a single death.
Yep, same.
That was horrible.
So, fun fact about their Team Blast, it gives you rings. You get so many rings during the final boss that you can just spam Team Blast. Like, you use it and it instantly fills up your meter again.
That's hilarious. What a great game.
And then they get to the end of their mission, they beat the Egg Emperor, and they find out their client was Eggman. And they're like, what? Well, if you're Eggman, who did we just fight? And Eggman's like, oh, it's a long story. And then the game ends.
Don't worry, boys. That was the easy one.
This team fascinates me. Their moves and objectives are very different from those of any other team. In terms of the former, I like most of their unique quirks. SPO's Shuriken can be more useful than you might think. Well, at least it's better than Amy's hammer. That thing sucks. And I'd say that single-handedly places them above Team Rose in terms of how much fun you can have. His tornado move, giving him stealth, is interesting, but activating it takes you out of the ball form, leaving you instantly vulnerable in the air, which I don't like. Charmy's only differences are his sting move and his ability to activate flowers that are mechanical for some reason. His biggest downside is that he is Charmy. Vector is like a faster version of Big, minus his mid-air slam. And it's a moveset that I'm overall fine with. As for the levels, I don't want to waste too much time talking about each specific mission, so I'll give a quick run-through of each level and just say if I think it's good or bad without any explanation. Seaside Hill, good. Ocean Palace, good. Grand Metropolis, mid. Power Planet, good. Casino Park, bad. Bingo Highway, good. Rail Canyon, good. Bullet Station, bad. Frog Forest, good. Lost Jungle, bad. Hand Castle, good. Mystic Mansion, bad. Egg Fleet, good. Final Fortress, mid. This team gets third place in terms of fun to be had, though it is a very respectable third considering the top two spots are tied for first, and this team isn't that far behind them.
It's really cool that he went mission by mission. He said his opinions on them. I'm not going to do that. I don't intend on doing that. I hated most of them. My review is, if I didn't bring it up, it's 0 out of 10.
Yeah, so if I had to rank them, Team Rose is definitely on top because it wasn't out to kill me. And then below that, it's honestly hard to place. I only know what my bottom pick is. I'd probably put Team Sonic. I truly despised it my first time through, but I think if I went back, it's really just kind of more of the same. And then below that I put Team Chaotix because, it's kind of similar to Team Sonic in terms of difficulty and length, but some of the objectives are at least kind of interesting. Some of them are easier than Team Sonic's levels, like the Casino Park ones, and some of them are a lot worse. But overall, I think it kind of balances it out a little bit, just a smidge below. And then definitely last, Team Dark, because, in a vacuum, it's not that different from Team Sonic, but the fact that I played it second, or rather third, and it was just Team Sonic, but pretty much objectively worse, made it a miserable experience. I don't think I've ever felt broken playing a game as it was halfway into the Team Dark playthrough, realizing, yep, nothing's new.
Yeah.
Omega was the only thing keeping me sane, honestly. So that's my ranking.
Yeah, I think my ranking is number 1, Team Rose. They were definitely just the most fun to play. Number 2, actually, Team Dark, because they did try to kill me, and I respect that. 3, Team Chaotix. They have their high points, they have their low points, and there's a lot of them. And then the worst one's Team Sonic, because it's just vanilla dialogue and character-wise, and it's boring and terrible gameplay-wise.
I definitely hated my Team Sonic playthrough the worst. It was definitely my least favorite. But again, I think it's just because I didn't know what to expect. I thought I was going to be playing Adventure 3. Hunter, what was your ranking?
Number 1, Team Sonic.
Okay, Hunter, can you blindly rank the other 3 teams?
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna go based on what I've heard. I would go number 1, Team Rose. Number 2, Team Sonic. Number 3, Team Dark. Number 4, Team Chaotix.
Based, we take those.
So now that we beat all 4 stories, the little end screen says "Defeat Last Evil," which is some really excellent English. And what I think is really funny is that I didn't have to look it up. I did figure it out, but being a kid, surely you wouldn't immediately think to keep pressing right on the select screen to find the last story.
Yeah, it's just not there unless you move over more. So, Hunter, for context,
Yeah,
there's
like,
like the 4 character select screens, and then if you go to the right of Team Chaotix, there's another one off screen.
It's really weird.
How
There's
did
no
unlock it? Is
indication
that there
you
from the
move
start?
forward. You have to unlock it, I think.
Oh, okay.
Chaotix interrogate Eggman, and he says like, "Oh, gotta beat Metal," and then Neo Metal, who's the new powered up Metal Sonic, appears, and he blows up the ship, and it actually looks pretty sick. Like that cutscene, the graphics on that, kind of wild.
Neo Metal's design is also very good. I wouldn't say it's as good as like just the normal Metal Sonic design, but Neo Metal looks great.
Kind of reminiscent of the Metal Sonic from Knuckles Chaotix and what is it? Mania's second phase of the Metal Sonic boss.
Right, yeah.
But he blows up the ship, well, part of the ship, and he turns into this big Hydra-looking thing. And Sonic's line, "We'll show them the real superpower of teamwork." Yeah.
Dude, banger line.
So bad.
Honestly. So
it's funny.
my main note for the final story is every complaint I've had about the game does not count for the final boss.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not perfect. The lives thing is funny. I think it's really weird that there's actually 2 bosses here. There's a boss called Metal Madness.
Yeah.
It's just like its own weird thing. You gotta play as each team and just attack him. There's like an orb on his chest that it's really strange. It glows the color of the one that is immune to the attack.
Right, yeah.
So you have to use not the character that he's showing, which is very unintuitive.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also think it's funny. I can't remember. I think it's Shadow like doesn't have a ranged attack or something, but he can still show up on it. It's like some like weird bug.
No, you can
But,
like jump off and
I
homing
mean,
attack him.
there's-
You can jump off the stage and homing attack him and jump back to the stage.
There's something I read on like the cutting room floor or something. I don't remember. But yeah. I mean, I honestly don't have a lot to say about this section. It's not very difficult. The lives thing is fucking hilarious, but
Yeah. And then Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles use the Chaos Emeralds and become supersonic. Or no, specifically, I think as Shadow says, they use their superpowers. And so Sonic supposedly becomes supersonic, and Tails and Knuckles become glowy Tails and Knuckles.
God, why do they do that these days? It's so freaking weird. I didn't realize the mandate for that started so early.
Right. It's awkward. And it plays the main theme of the game for 5 seconds, just quickly.
Hilarious. You get 5 seconds of a mid intro, and then you get the banger. When I'm mid of its peak. I said before, it's not my favorite. It's still pretty high up.
Dude, I'm gonna say it right now. Between the music, between the dialogue, between the actual fight itself, best Sonic final boss.
Hated the fight.
God, it's because you didn't use Rocket Excel.
Could not. I eventually kind of. It just felt janky. None of my moves, I could really tell what they were doing. It was very unintuitive what
Really?
I was supposed to do.
I think it
Like,
was very
died
cool.
several times.
So he has 3 main attacks. Technically 4, but I'll ask if you saw the 4th one because it's very cool. The first one is he shoots these blue lasers at you, and you're supposed to Rocket Excel into them. You don't have to charge it as Supersonic though. You can just press B and he zooms into it. The second one, he shoots spikes at you. You have to use Tails to reflect those. And the third one,
I did do that.
yeah, the third one, Neo Metal flies down under the clouds, picks up one of Eggman's big fuck-off battleships and throws it at you, and you have to punch it as Knuckles.
Yeah.
That's metal as hell.
Oh, I didn't know you could.
Yeah, you have to break through it as Knuckles.
Yeah, but they don't tell you how to do that shit. They don't tell you how to do that.
I think it's one point Sonic does scream, Knuckles, you gotta break through it or something. Or no, I think Eggman says that.
It's so unintuitive. It's just frustrating.
And then the fourth
Give me
attack.
a quick time event, honestly.
No, God, no, I love this way more than quick time events. And then the fourth attack, which I am very curious if you saw. Did you see him use Chaos Control?
I don't think so. Oh, no, yeah, he did, and it pissed me off. Because, like, what do I even do? He's draining my fucking rings.
Yeah, so the attack itself,
Hated it.
very dumb. I hate it. But for lore reasons, Metal Sonic using Chaos Control is very cool.
I mean, yeah. I actually wrote in my notes, I thought this was very unclear, but fun enough. I guess maybe I felt more positively at the moment, probably just because of the music.
Honestly, did you replay it at all, or did you just play it once?
Just the once. I do really enjoy Metal Sonic's characterization here, though, about talking about like feeling useless, like wanting to be the real Sonic and stuff. That was kind of a unique spin. You don't really hear from that character much at all.
True, because he can't talk is the main issue. I honestly do recommend replaying just the final boss at some point, because it is definitely the best part of the entire game if you understand how to fight it.
Part of Heroes, I'm never gonna get better.
Yeah, fair. Since I beat it, I've played that final boss like 5 times. It is so peak. Peak Sonic.
Sure, but what does WakaWakaWookie think?
Okay, just quickly, I think you are disagreeing with me on the best Sonic final boss fight. We talked in the last episode about how Sonic doesn't have good final bosses. So what is the best Sonic final boss fight?
Sonic Adventure 2 for vibes alone. Or Sonic Adventure 1.
Hard disagree. What does Waka have? Sonic Adventure 1 I can see.
The first phase of the final boss is pretty cool in terms of narrative, but only in terms of narrative. It has all the teams working together to beat up Metal Overlord in order to accomplish something. And the way they do it is by slowly attacking Metal Overlord with whatever ranged attacks they have over and over. I think it's cool that each team is put into an environment that best suits their characteristics, be it by forcing them to be creative about how they level up, or by just giving them free levels and saying, go whale on him. But it's still slow going. From here on, the final boss sort of reminds me of the bosses from Frontiers. You still have the same characters with the same movesets, only now those moves are powered up and are being used against an insane being that is also powered up. All while an absolute banger is playing in the background, and the big bad delivers an epic monologue. Peak Sonic, ladies and gentlemen.
I actually really like the Frontier comparison. Yeah,
Peak Sonic!
Honestly, I mean, okay, here's the thing with Frontiers. It shares a lot of the issues with Frontiers bosses is that, you know, they're very hard to read at times. It's not really clear, especially in the freaking DLC, you know.
Right.
Not clear what the game expects you to do. And I think the issues with Frontiers fighting bosses in general are kind of exaggerated here. But it does have the vibes. And it does have the similar moveset thing, which is always good, so, you know what? It's not all bad.
This is definitely the coolest Metal Sonic has ever been.
I mean, not much competition. I like his music. Well, anyways, ending, another fantastic line. Quote, "You can't beat us because we're Sonic heroes." Great.
And
awesome.
then there's a still frame, and it says, "Get all emblems," which, no.
Believe that. Yeah, like that's gonna be. I mean, also, I think it's funny that Amy chases Sonic again. Like, this is the third, fourth, as you're counting multiple perspectives, this is like the 5th time it's happened.
Right, yeah.
Bro. And then they also strike the render poses, which I think is really funny. Like, the poses they strike at the render, like the art. But I kind of enjoy it. Knuckles and Rouge finally exchanged some dialogue. I like the ending.
They played that scene during the symphony, and I was like, when is that? When does that happen? When's that animated?
And then I actually did enjoy Sonic Heroes as a credits theme. I'm not crazy about the theme song, but the more I heard it in the game, the more I liked it. I guess, I personally, I give this game like a 6 out of 10. I think it's got some like insanely glaring issues. It's just, it feels broken, unfinished, but it also has fun parts, so I can't hate it.
Sorry, you caught me really off guard there. I forgot we rank games differently. I was like, 6? Hunter, what was your score?
6.5 out of 10. I'm honestly glad the game's getting a remake because it has potential, at least in the Sonic story of what I played, but it's in its current state, it's kind of just a broken game in my opinion.
My final score is, I think, overall, it was a bad game. So if we ignore the entire final boss theme, like the entire final boss, I think my final score would be a 3 out of 10. But the final boss itself boosted it to a 4.5. It's a 4.5 out of 10.
That's
I'm the one who enjoyed this game the most. I guess I'm the one who played the least of it.
Wait, that makes sense, actually.
A direct correlation.
This game is flawed. Far from perfect. There's no arguing with that. But there's also no arguing with the fact that for every low point this game has, it also has 2 high points in return. New players will definitely struggle with it, but if you take the time to truly master this game and understand the little intricacies that make it what it is, that's where the true beauty can be found. Toby Fox once said, "All chaos is order." Actually, he typed it and he probably wasn't the first to say it or type it, but he did it in the funniest way, so he gets the credit. But that's how I see this game. Where others can find only chaos and pain, I find order and stability. I'm going to pull a Metacritic and give this game a 7 out of 10. Not the greatest, but still a good experience that manages to distinguish itself in this series.
Which, like I said, lower than we both expected him to.
Yeah, honestly, but I mean, his reasoning was very sound. He ends up obscenely flawed, but it's got high points, and you can appreciate it more with time.
Definitely not the best Sonic game.
It's time for the wheel.
Yeah, should we start with the bonus game wheel? Because I feel like that's the most random one, probably.
My bonus game is
Right.
Dracula for the Game Boy. Game Boy.
Okay.
Dracula?
Okay.
Kid Dracula.
Kid Dracula.
Oh, Kid Dracula. My bad.
Castlevania spin. Random ass game.
Alright, Wes, what's yours?
I forgot. You go next.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pick the masterpiece that is Sonic Forces.
Oh Christ.
Yep, that's right, I actually picked it.
I'm gonna go with, I don't want to pick a bad game. I think Hunter might die, so I'm gonna go with Sonic Mania Plus.
Sonic Mania Plus, that's a good answer. Alright, let's spin the wheel! We got Kid Dracula for the Game Boy! Finally, a good game. Alright, and now time for the main game. Wes, what is your choice?
Alright, you better believe it's Paper Mario and the 1,000-Year Door.
TTYD Remake. My choice is TTYD Remake. Hunter, what's your choice?
My choice is The End Is Nigh, the spiritual successor to Super Meat Boy.
Alright, let's spin the wheel! We got TTYD Remake!
Let's go!
It was specifically yours, by the way, Wes.
Hunter, if it makes you
Oops,
feel any better, I'll play The End Is Nigh.
Oops, I spun the wheel again. Oh, we got yours again, Wes. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Video Game Book Club. This one actually went really well. We recorded for like 4 hours.
Yeah, good luck on the editing.
I'm happy we did this early. We were going to record it like a day or two before, but we did it a week before, so I have plenty of time. Thank you guys for watching this video. Be sure to check out the last couple of videos. We, 2 months ago, I believe we did Paper Mario Sticker Star, and then last episode we did Fez, a game which I had some unpopular opinions on. Wes, do you have something you want to close out with?
I was just thinking, like, we should close out on a bit this time. Yeah, I mentioned it last time, but I think a bit is in order.
Right, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. All right. All right. See you next week.
Yeah, see you guys.
This month. Fuck.